it's Demo Donna here with Queen & Company, and I am going to be creating this beautiful wreath shaker card today using the Shaped Shaker Kit, the circle shape. And I'm also going to be using the shrink kit, and that is where I got these adorable little leaf dies, as well as the fabulous little fallen leaves inside of our wreath shaker. So I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy. For the first part of this card, we are going to be doing some antiquing. And basically all you need for that is a nice little sponge. You can use a sponge like this, or you can use a makeup sponge to give it a try. I've also wadded together some paper towel before and done this technique. So it's just all about the swirling, trying it out. So I'm gonna use my great little Queen & Company squirt bottle, coming soon, so keep an eye out for it. I am going to ink up, I have a craft mat, so I am just gonna do 2 ounces of my ink pad. This is a vintagey ink for this kind of technique. You can practice with a couple of different inks to create this look. I am going to spray 2 sprays of water, and I always think the best way, especially if you've never done this before, is to practice with one of your cutouts. So I'm pouncing my sponge, and you could even use a makeup sponge, and then I'm gonna get off a lot of the ink, and then you're doing a swirling motion. So just like what I'm doing here. And just keep going. At first, sometimes I'm like, oh, I put too much, or oh, I don't know if I like that. But once I finish the whole thing and I keep playing a little bit more, I can sometimes go over and fix the parts that I don't like. Like here was a little darker. So it's always good to test your ink and your water and your application before you do this technique. And start at one edge and work my way all around. There we go. Set that aside, and I'm going to continue on my other pieces that I'm adding to my card. So I'm still using those same 2 little ink blotches that I originally stamped out. So you don't need a ton of ink. And just start with your circular motion and go all the way around. That's going to be it for me. You can also, you see all this here? I can flip over my paper and pick up some of that ink as well. So now I've got a really cool kind of splattery look in the background too. So that's something to keep in mind. So I'm always down for finding something that works best for me. This is how I do it. It's a little messy, it's a little fun, but give it a try, see how you like it. All right, so I've already gone ahead and assembled from foundation die number 4, that background. And now I've stuck my adhesive on the back of my 2 smaller pieces. And I am going to layer those on first. And I'm going a little over 1/4 inch from both sides. Just kind of eyeballing it. And I'm using the stitch line on top for my guide. So those are right up against the stitch line. Then I'm going to take my larger one and I am going to center that. There we go. And lay that down right over. So now I've got my 3 banners, also from foundation die number 4, right on top, and now I'm ready to put my wreath on. So I cut out a bunch of leaves using the Vintage Truck Sweater Weather paper pad. I feel this is a really fun fall winter paper pad. And that is what I cut out the striped background with foundation die number 4. So I went ahead and cut out a bunch of leaves, and these are the adorable dies from the fabulous shrink kit. So we use these dies as well as some of the great sprigs and leaves from foundation die number 9. So what we are gonna do next is we are gonna do a little antiquing to these. So again, I'm gonna take my ink pad, I'm gonna add a little water. And then we are going to make some fall leaves. So I am first going to crumble them up. And I'm gonna do this to a couple of them, just really make them have that fall look. Okay, now that I've crumbled up a bunch of my leaves, and I've, at this point, just crumbled up the 2 leaf patterns from the shrink kit. So now that I've crumbled these up nice and good, and I just pretty much stabbed them with my fingernail tool and then kind of did a little squishing. Really simple, something your kids can help out with. Now what I'm gonna do is just basically thin this out, and I'm gonna take my little crumbled leaf and I'm just gonna dip it. I'm gonna dip all of them in there. Just give them a little quick dip over. Okay, now that I have aged up all my leaves, gave them a little bit more of a realistic leaf look. I'm gonna bring these up closer so you could see how beautiful they turned out. Now we are gonna start assembling our leaves. And you do have some sprigs. If you wanna go ahead and give your sprigs some of that antique look too, you can just do a little pouncing with some of your leftover ink, which I have a little bit still on my sponge here, just so they don't have that really fresh, clean paper look. You want them to match the look of your whole wreath. So I'm just gonna grab a couple of them here, just in case I use them, have them handy. I am using the negative space from the largest circle as my outline die. It fits perfectly with that middle circle, which is the shaker we're gonna be creating. I am taking an earthy green. I really love this green color. It kind of goes with our natural fallen leaves. And I'm going to be stamping that out a little higher than the center of our circle. Give it a nice even pressure. Pop that off. And you've got a "You are awesome, thank you." Next, we are going to be creating our shaker card. So I am going to be taking the center circle, pop that out, take the protective layer off, and I'm going to go ahead and center that. There we go. And then pop that larger piece out carefully. Now, since I've already got my shrink kit out, I am absolutely going to be putting some of these adorable shrink leaves inside of my shaker. Now, with so many colors to choose from, I went ahead and did a few greens, a yellow, and one of the blues to put into my fabulous shaker. And if you've never used the shrink kit before, all you need is a heat-safe bowl. So I'm going to use this little bowl here, a craft pick, and your heat tool. Or you can also bake them in the oven. So I am simply going to take my leaf that I already cut out with the shrink film. There is a shiny side and a matte side, and I'm going to put it matte side down. Take my craft pick and my heat tool, and I'm just going to hold it down with my craft pick and apply heat. That is it. Let that cool and you have an adorable little shrink topping for the inside of your shaker. Now that we have finished all of our beautiful little shrink leaves, I just love them. They're so cute. I've got the base of my shaker card. I'm just gonna toss my leaves in there. Make sure they're all nice and flat. Check to see if you can read your sentiment. Guess what? Too many leaves. So I'm gonna take my adorable little scooper and I'm gonna take some out and use them for my next card. Because obviously the most important part is that you can read your sentiment. So I'm gonna do about half of what I had in there, which is great because now I'm already set for my next fall thank you card. I'm gonna take some of these pearlies, sprinkle those in there, not pearlies, diamonds, and a couple of the clear diamonds. And I'm sprinkling right on top because when I add my piece of acetate, I don't want them to be stacked on top of the leaves. So that's why I put them above the leaves up here. Peel off that backing, take your piece of acetate. I'm gonna kind of fold that a little bit. I'm hovering over top to make sure that's nice and even, and there we go. Now you could take your shaker and look at that. That looks so used to flipping it upside down. And look at that, that looks just great. I love the way that turned out with that auburn color and my little leaves in there. Now we are going to create our fabulous wreath. Okay, so to get started, I am simply gonna grab my small gloobers. So here is what a sheet of your gloobers look like. All you need to do is peel off this protective paper and just stick your leaf on the adhesive and pull it off. And I am going to start by doing a bit symmetrical. So I'm going to put one leaf here, one leaf on top. I'm also going to go in the same position. One leaf on the opposite side, and then one leaf at the bottom. So that's kind of the base of my wreath. And now I'm gonna build all around that and mix up my colors. But I just wanted you to see how I start it. So therefore, I'm just kind of filling in these spaces. Even with your smaller sprigs, you can use your small goobers. Even though the adhesive is still a little bit bigger, it's going to be covered up by that next leaf. So don't worry about that too much. All right, and there we have it, our full wreath with all of our fall leaves inside of our shaker. And now I am just going to mount that onto our card. And we have a beautiful fall shaker card with a really simple sentiment inside. You are awesome, thank you. And I absolutely love the way this turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed all of the tips and tricks that you learned today. Bye-bye.